Hi, in this tutorial, I'll be going over how to detect facial expression changes using ARKit through the AR face anchor function. This is very convenient, and Apple has already laid out the groundworks and properties, and basically ARKit will do the heavy lifting for you. I'll be doing a quick demo to show what we will build today. Yeah, so I realized that my audio didn't work and it didn't save, so I'm just going to do a quick voiceover of my demonstration. So basically, this is a very bare bones app. It's just, well, the camera and the masking layer that Apple applies. And as you can see here, it's just, well, me in my face. And over here, it's basically showing how to increment the counter, you give a grin or you smile, and to decrement the counter, you hold your jaw down. That's about it. Okay, so now let's actually get started. So let's just create a new project. Let's call this facial expression detection tutorial. Okay, save it. And as I was saying, well, I didn't say this before, but basically, recently I found a package that made it very easy for developers to integrate facial expression detection into your project, and we'll be doing that today. But unfortunately, I didn't know that when I was creating my own app for facial expression detection. So I basically reinvented the wheel for my own project, but we don't have to now. So I'll show you what package to install. So let's go here. I'll be using SwiftUI. Okay, so let's add a package. Add package dependency, and we'll be adding Wink. So this is the package that we'll be adding. So here's a quick overview. It hasn't been updated in 4 years, but it's okay because it still serves the purpose. Okay, so let me go back and add this project and add this dependency and add package. All right. So the package is now added, and since this was actually written 4 years ago, the package itself it used UIKit, and since, well, everyone uses SwiftUI now, I'll be basically creating an adapter that allows UIKit code to be run in SwiftUI. So first thing I'm gonna do is to create a new file called VC adapter, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, and let's just get started. So first thing, let's import UIKit, import SwiftUI. We're gonna need combine and the package that we installed, Wink. So first thing we're gonna do is to create, well, a view controller. So I'm gonna call this view controller facial expression view controller. UI view controller, and make sure to make it an observable object. Okay, and I also need to create a new file. It's for the app publish variables that I'm going to be using. I'm going to call this feedback manager, and in here I'm going to create a new class called feedback manager, also observable object. And we're going to have two app publish variables. The first one is going to be facial expression list of type array of integers, and we're going to set this to 0 for now. So that basically means that we're setting the initial counter to 0 basically. Okay, so now let's go back to the view controller adapter, and I think most of the code is actually from GitHub over here, but I've made a lot of adjustments, so I'm going to be using my own code. So first thing, I'm just going to initialize the view controller detector, which is actually a package. Oh, it's from the package itself, facial expression view controller. Okay, and I'll be needing feedback manager. I'll pass it in later as a parameter. And also, because I'm using combine, I'm going to be using publishers and subscribers. So I'm going to need this later on. Any cancelables. Okay. Okay, let me just initialize the feedback manager. Feedback manager. And self.feedback is equal to feedback. And super init. I forgot why we need this, but I think it was in a sample and I didn't remove it, so we're keeping it here. But I never tried it out if, like, whether or not you need this or not. I'm not very fluent. Okay. Also copy and paste from the GitHub itself. Just give it a fatal error. Okay, something that looks familiar. View did load. So called superclass, super method, view did load. And over here, this is where the fun part begins. So I basically, in a sample, there's like 5 different methods. I narrowed it down to 2 of the most essential ones. So the first one is going to be add facial expression detector. I'm gonna add child facial expression view controller. Oh, no. I need this. Okay, there we go. And add it to subview. Dot view. Facial expression. Parent. Did move to parent. Why does it keep doing that? To parent. Function adjust facial expression view. Okay, so this is the part where I made the most edits on my side. Well, when I first discovered it, which is just recently. Okay, so it's gonna go through an analyzer that's going to have facial expression view controller. That is going to take in an array of facial expression analyzers. So analyzers. Okay, and for the sake of this project, since we're only gonna have, well, an increment and decrement, I only need, well, maybe just 2 facial expressions. So we're gonna add these 2 to the list that ARKit should be looking out for. So facial expression is going to mouth smile.left or mouth smile.right. Doesn't really matter. I realized that mouth smile.left and right is basically the same thing. Smile right, left. Minimum. So minimum valid coefficient is basically how sensitive you want the app to detect your facial expression. For example, if this value was very high, for example like 0.9, you really have to smile in order for it to activate or detect that you're smiling. Versus if you're just like 0.1, if you just give like a little grin, it usually detects. So yeah. So for this one, I'm gonna be using smiling and jaw opening because it's perhaps the most obvious. Okay, so we have those down. Facial expression detector. Oh, I spelled it wrong. That's why. Okay. Facial. Facial expression detector view controller. There we go. Facial expression. There we go. And I'm going to set a publisher. Facial expression publisher. Okay, so it's gonna publish out the results, and this is a combined feature that I use a lot. Sync, which is basically to get the results. It's gonna take in expressions and let's see. The way I did it was basically it added on to each expression. So I made sure that the first expression was mouth dot smile dot left, and over here we open it up and basically append this result to the facial expression list. And I'm going to append the value 1 for incrementing, and I think you can see where this is going, but for decrementing, it'll be -1. Oh, what? I just got a new keyboard, that's why I'm not very familiar with the controls. Okay, and then for else if expressions.first is equal to the decrement one, draw to open, then we do the same thing, but instead of +1 or +1, we do -1. And for the sake of debugging, I'm just going to print out the facial expression list whenever it adds a new one. Cool. So basically I also need to store cancellables, whatever it's called, but all I know is that cancellables are it basically terminates subscriptions to publishers, if I recall correctly. Oh, there we go. And of course, since I changed these, gotta rename it as well. There we go. And let's also address the errors. Let's see, what is this one? Oh, I don't think it's called facial expression view controller. It's called facial expression detector view controller. There it is. Wrong name. Okay, there we go. Now that's done. Now that the view controller is done. Oh, this is also to parent, not to move. Now that's done. I'm gonna go down here and basically create a UI view controller adapter. Well, it's also called UI view controller representable. So I'm gonna do that real quick. View expression view. So it basically takes a UI view controller and makes it compatible for a Swift UI lifecycle. And I'll be doing that right now. View controller, facial expression, view controller, feedback manager. And these are the predefined methods. I must have these, and it's very easy. I'm just gonna set the view controller to my view controller, and pass in feedback manager. I know this is still a parameter, but I'm gonna pass it in. And last but not least, return VC. Oh shoot, what was that? There we go. And also we need to update UI view controller, but we don't really need it for our project, at least not for this mini project. I'm just gonna leave it blank. Cool. So now let's go back to what is with this? Oh, okay, sure. Apparently it didn't like my fatal error, so I'm gonna replace it with theirs. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to content view, and first things first, I'm going to call expression, oh no, what is it called? Facial expression view. There we go. the UI view representable that we defined, and feedback manager, I'll be setting a state object here. State object our feedback manager is equal to, so this is the one time I'm initializing feedback manager, and pass that in. Cool. And I don't want to show my face to the largest screen size possible, so I'm just gonna set a little frame. And why not just also have a text that says counter for now. Okay, so let's go down. We need one method. It's basically to handle the new changes of our list. I'm just gonna call this handle facial expression list change. It's gonna take in a value of type int, well, an array of integers, not just int. And I'm gonna do this in the background thread, async. And if let last value is equal to new value dot last, I'm just gonna basically increment the counter. And the counter, I just call it paginator, because it was the name I used in my last project. Okay, so now that's cool. I'm just going to, over here, display the paginator as well. So counter feedback manager dot paginator, and for the sake of grammar, counter is currently at this value. And okay, before we run, we have to go into our info.plist and add a key. I believe it was called privacy camera usage. Here it is. Because we're going to be using the front-facing true depth camera, we're going to need to provide this message. So, well, we're just testing it out, so just going to call it sample alert. Why not? Cool. So now let's actually run this and see what we get. So I'm gonna be doing this on an iPad, just to let you guys know, because, well, my iPhone screen is too small. So yes, let's run it on my iPad. I forgot the most important detail here. So, well, I define the methods but never call them, so I'm gonna do them right now. So add facial expression detector and also adjust facial expression view. There we go. Okay, now let's try to run it again and see what we get. So yeah, as you can see, the alert pops out based on what we defined during when we were at the info.plist. We click allow, and there you go. So, well, Apple and AR face anchor basically put a mask on my face to, I don't know, to detect facial expressions. Yeah. So as you can see, there is one issue. If you see in your console, if I just smile, it like just spams once. So in order to combat that issue, I will be doing so in order to combat that issue, I will be going down to the VC adapter file under adjust expression view. I'm gonna need to add a throttle. So basically what a throttle is, okay, let me just set this to the values first so it's easier to explain. Dispatch q.main and latest true. Okay, so basically the throttle with a value of 0.65 means that I'm basically setting a delay for 0.65 seconds so that one smile doesn't append like 10 ones because of how sensitive facial expression analyzer is. So let me just try to run it again and show you what I mean. Okay, now that we're here, if I smile, and if you check your terminal, it really slows down the amount of results that you're getting back from combine. And if I smile again, smile, if I hold on my jaw, it decrements. And there is an issue here because while it's showing up in content view, well, in the console, that it's being updated, it's not actually being updated for some reason. Let me go back. There's a reason why. Because I forgot to add an on change. So gotta add an on change over here. Facial expression list. It's gonna call this method every time. There we go. That should work. Dot facial expression list. So let's try to run that again. And yeah, as you can see, currently, the counter is at X amount is finally updating. And yeah, that's about it. So that wraps up the tutorial. And last but not least, I want to show you basically the project that I spun off of this feature. So going back, let me pull up my application. So, well, I have a long summer this summer because of quarter system. I have 3 months of break, so I just spent some time exploring. And yeah, this is the app that I made. It's pretty simple. I'm a musician myself, so basically it's very annoying to flip music sheet, and this was my solution to basically paginate sheet music without actually flipping them physically. So yeah, this is the app. I select a sheet music. Let's just pull up a random one. Rhapsody, Paganini, classic. And this is what I do. After I reach the end of each PDF page, I just smile a bit, and it's gonna bring me to the next page, and I play on without interruption. And you could also change what type of expression you want. So for example, to flip forward, cheek puff, I puff my cheek and it advances to the next page. So yeah, it's a pretty simple app, but I thought it was pretty practical for my sake and maybe for other musicians, so hence I created this app. So thank you for watching my tutorial, and I hope this inspires you in some way, or I don't know, maybe you can spin off your own project. I just thought it was pretty cool and wanted to share. Thank you.